Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, she used to wash the semen off of the clothes of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and she says that I would wash it off and I would notice the spots as he's going to prayer. Okay? So there's a number of things going on over here. That is that obviously there's two possibilities. It could be semen from a wet dream at night. It could also be from sexual intercourse as well, right? So she would wash this semen off of the clothes of the Prophet ﷺ, and she said I would notice some of the spots there still. Okay? Now what does this mean? Okay, there's a number of things here. Number one, this means that the semen was not considered najasa because some of the spots were still there as the Prophet is going to pray. Okay? Now again, keep in mind that the luxuries that you're used to are not here. This is 7th century Arabia. You think to yourself, okay, I'll just use another pair of clothes, right? There are not too many pairs of clothes. So, and the Prophet is in a hurry, maybe he's doing something. He doesn't even have time to wash it, the whole clothes. And usually they would not end up washing the whole clothes anyways, because you can't do that. There's not that much water available. So she washes it quickly for the Prophet ﷺ so he can go. But again, we go back to the point that the spots are still there. From this, the Shafi'iyya, they said that, and also the Hanabila, that semen is not considered najasa. It's not considered impurity. Okay, urine is considered impurity. Pre-seminal fluid is considered impurity, but semen specifically is not considered impurity. طيب. Now, of course, there's another opinion. That is the opinion of the Ahnaf and the Malikiya and others. They say that actually it is considered an impurity because she's washing. But she's also saying some spots are left. Right? And then there's another hadith, and this is an even more clear hadith that shows you that it wasn't an impurity, and that is that she would scrape it off with her finger sometimes. Aisha said that sometimes I would scrape off the remains of the semens on the cloth of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and this hadith is also authentic. So this shows you that it is definitely not najasa. Why? Because if she's just scraping it off, then the actual substance is still there. She hasn't washed it off. She's literally just scraping it off. And there's another report where she explains when she would do each. She said when it would be wet, I would wash it off. And when it would be dry, then I would scrape it off. Okay? So that shows you that she had a system going over here, but all of it goes back to one thing, and that is that inshallah, it's not considered najasa. Right? This is not considered najasa. But again, I go back to it, there is a difference of opinion. Some of the scholars do consider it najasa, but something not being najasa doesn't mean it's not edible, because some of the Ahnaf, they went back to the Shafi'iyya and they said, okay, if it's not najasa, put it on a plate and eat it. But that's not the idea. Not everything that is not najis is edible as well. Okay? Edible, like the rules of what is edible and what isn't edible, it's a different discussion. But things not being najis doesn't mean that it's not considered edible. And this was one of the big discrepancies between the Shafi'iyya and the Ahnaf. Like there's a lot of serious debates that took place between major scholars because of this specific issue. Anyways, the idea is that if it were to be najis, then it also needs to be washed off. If it's not najis, then it can simply be scraped off anyways.